Hello everybody. In my practice as an astrologer, I often get asked questions like, ooh, I'm under a really heavy transit, is this a really, how long is it going to last? You know, how to deal with difficult transits in a chart. And I just thought I'd devote a video to this subject, because it comes up time and again. I see people every day, with people who come for readings, with big Pluto transits going on that can last for many years, Neptune transits that maybe cause a lot of confusion and betrayals and lies, with Uranus transits that cause upset and turbulence, with Saturn transit that bring you really good life lessons. And what I see is that very often it can be the same transit that people are experiencing, two clients. And one client feels utterly destroyed by this transit and feels like a victim and as though everything is happening to them and it's everybody out there that is doing it to me. Or another client comes to me and I can show that person constructively how to deal with that transit in a way that is not going to destroy you but brings you to life, like the phoenix rising out of the ashes. Because it's really important. I mean, I feel that my role as an astrologer is to help you to use these transits to build muscles. Yeah, often the most difficult transits are the ones where you build strength, you build energy, you build resources, you build character. And that's what I try to do in my practice as an astrologer. So what I'd like to do in this video is just take the outer planets, because the outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, move more slowly, and therefore you can be under the influence of an outer planet for several months, if not several years, and how to deal with those energies. So let's take Pluto, the slowest moving planet. And let's say you're under the influence of Pluto. Now sometimes you might be under the influence of all three of the outer planets, but I want to just take them in turn so that you can just get a flavour of how you might be dealing with a certain transit. So let's say you're dealing with Pluto transits, and all the cardinal signs right now, whether you like it or not, in one way or another, are dealing with Pluto transits. The cardinal signs: Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn. The reason for that, we've got Pluto in Capricorn. It's been there since 2008. It's going to be there until 2023, 2024. So we're in the middle of it all now, and it's still affecting the cardinal signs greatly. And of course you may have planets in cardinal signs in your chart. You might not be a sun sign or an ascendant, but equally those planets are going to be activated somehow by Pluto. So Pluto is the planet of deep transformation. It's ruled by Scorpio. And when you're under a Pluto transit, you can't ignore things. If you try and stuff things under the carpet, if you try to somehow think, oh, you know, this relationship, it's going to get better. Oh, my finances, they're going to get better. But if you're not willing to really deal with it and take it apart and look inside deeply on the internal journey, then the external journey begins to get more difficult during a Pluto transit. So I've been under a Pluto transit most strongly since around 2011. Pluto and Uranus have been certainly kicking my ass. And I've had to go on a very deep internal journey at this time. Many of you, I think, have seen huge changes happening, and they're still happening. It's not over yet. And there are difficult times and easier times, and it changes from moment to moment. But I think if you can recognize that no matter what it is that you're going through during a Pluto transit, that this is an opportunity to learn how to trust that really all your needs are going to be met, are being met, and learning how to surrender to a higher power and to connect with that higher power, you'll find that you're going into the energy of the Pluto transit rather than resisting it. If you resist the Pluto transit, that's when life becomes, it can become really unbearable. I've seen people with Pluto transits go through suicidal thoughts, Great Depression, often that can be a serious illness, a breakup of a relationship. Yeah, there can be some really life-changing events that happen during a Pluto transit. And it's how you deal with them internally and how you grow through these events that can change you completely. And it's about learning how to use power and how to be empowered. So I'm always conscious when someone's going through a Pluto transit is how can I, as a professional astrologer, help you to be empowered? And we'll go into the details of your life, whatever's going on. You can do this yourself. You don't necessarily need an astrologer to translate it for you, although it can be extremely helpful. But if you're interested in astrology, really learn where's this Pluto affecting me, which planet, which house, and then begin to research this for yourself. Now, Neptune. If you're going through a Neptune transit, you might be going through a lot of disillusion. You might be finding things dissolving in your life, relationships, a work situation. You might be undergoing people telling you lies, you telling yourself lies. And again, what I find often with Neptune transits is it's reflecting to you things that you might be holding on to that you just need to release, let them go. Neptune ruled by Pisces, Pisces energy, the two fish moving in opposite directions. Maybe it's time to release a relationship, to release your hold on something, to let go of control. You might find yourself in a work situation where there's backstabbing going on, where people are talking about you. Maybe your lesson here is to learn not to take things too personally, to not get involved in gossip. Maybe the lesson is that it's time to move job. This is dissolving now and it's time to seek something else. So when you're under a Neptune transit, you might be in a dream world. You're not seeing the wood for the trees. You might be dreaming about a person or a relationship and hoping against hope that it's just going to suddenly improve, change, or somebody outside of you is suddenly going to change. And they don't. And maybe it's you that needs to make the changes. So again, how do you use Neptune constructively? You look at where it's transiting in your chart, and of course it's transiting somewhere in your chart, no matter what's happening right now. Maybe it's not being terribly activated, it gets activated when it hits a planet or an angle of the chart. Then it can be activated. So if it's hitting your ascendant, it may be an opportunity for you really to see yourself in a new light. So look at your world with different eyes. Neptune transits can often take you into the media, into film, into television, into videos. Neptune ruling anything to do with film and that whole area. And so using it constructively is learning how to release, learning how to use creativity in your life, and how to decipher what is true and what is real, and to be awake rather than dreaming through your life. That isn't to say that you can't have dreams, but where do you need to wake up and see that you are dreaming rather than in reality? And then a completely different flavour is if you're under a Uranus transit strongly affecting you. Uranus is all about change and awakening. Uranus changes sign May 18th of 2018 going into Taurus. That's a big shift. I've done videos about that, so you can look those up on YouTube. But let's say Uranus is affecting you now, strongly. It's transiting one of the houses in your life. So where is the awakening needing to happen? Is it in your finances? Do you need to make some changes? Uranus can give you abrupt pinches. It's like, hello, are you there? Are you awake? Are you listening? And if you're not, then you might get some turbulence in your life. Chances you will. Chances are you will. Uranus wants you to move. You can't stay still with Uranus, right? With Saturn, you need to learn how to stay still. With Uranus, you need to learn how to move quickly, how to bring out your uniqueness, your individuality, your authenticity. These are the constructive ways of dealing with Uranus. So sometimes when I see somebody in Uranus transits, and they're very strong when you get your Uranus half return at age, around about age 41, 2, 3, 4, around there. That's often called a midlife crisis. Astrologically, it's a Uranus half return. Comes back full return when you're about 84 years old, 84, 85. But in between it squares and trines and does all kinds of other aspects. And so it's really important to know when Uranus is affecting you, because it's an opportunity to be inspired. And if you are ready to really make changes, sometimes if Uranus is hitting the bottom of someone's chart, they need to make a physical move. They might need to move out of their home quickly. You might need to move state, country. Maybe it's hitting the top of your chart, the midheaven. Time to make some really big shifts in your career. Maybe it's time to change career. What if it's hitting relationships? Big time for some shifts in your relationships. So there are always constructive and empowering ways to use these so-called difficult, heavier transits in a chart. And that's what I feel astrology should be used for. In our world, there's an awakening happening. There's a different consciousness happening. I feel that as astrologers, we are responsible. I speak for myself here, not everybody. I am responsible for using astrology in new and different and creative ways as we move on to this awakening and higher level of consciousness. And obviously we're all at different levels. I have to learn how to tune it when I'm dealing with different clients. And at the same time, as an astrologer, I need to learn and grow and how to use these aspects differently and to help you to reach your fullest potential in every moment. And I think that there's much to learn, which is why astrology is always a fascinating, unfolding subject, because there's always more to learn and to piece together. So it goes as far back as Hippocrates, who really encouraged and felt that doctors and medicine, you had to be an astrologer, you had to have a good understanding of astrology before you were allowed to pass medical exams. So it really is an art, a science, that dates back thousands of years. Man has been looking at the stars. And now as we hopefully evolve into a higher consciousness, a higher technology, greater speed, we have to speed up in our understanding of the messages that the planetary forces are giving us. And I hope that bit by bit, as I unfold, as I learn, I'll share it with you, we'll co-create together a new astrology for this awakening time. So I'm fascinated to hear your feedback, your input. I don't usually do long videos, but this one just came as an inspiration today. I felt I needed to do it because I'm seeing more and more clients, more and more people going through these so-called difficult transits, being frightened often by what they're reading in the media, and I don't want fear to be the message of astrology and psychic stuff, you know, ooh, it's fearful, because I was only listening the other day that repeated most often in the Bible are two words, fear not. And they're repeated apparently 365 times. I don't think that's an accident, do you? One for each day of the year. Fear not. And that's what I feel we're moving towards. And that the astrology needs to lead the way away from being fearful and voodoo and airy-fairy, that there is something very positive and constructive that it can bring. So I've said my party piece, and I hope that that's given you some food for thought. Bye for now.